Hello, it's Bob, and welcome to the What I Read in January and February of 2026 video. This is the first time that I am trying to film one of these, so I'm hoping it doesn't turn into this giant yap session. Fingers crossed. So this is my January cover page, and my idea with doing reading journal cover pages, not really for aesthetic reasons, it's mostly to enjoy the process of doing. And my idea here was to use up some of the stuff in my stash that just wasn't moving. So this was a printout I did last year for the Year of the Snake, and I hand cut that. This was before I got my Cricut, so I didn't want to throw it out, but I also didn't have use for it any other way. This snake sticker I got in Ikigai Papyr's reject bag, which I have too many of because I bought a lot of reject bags and it just came all with the same vinyl sticker, which is fine. I just don't have that many cases that I'm going to be using snakes in any journal. And these bottles, they are from Temu, but they look really fake, and I was very disappointed when I got it because it looked very different to the product listing. It was very much more rich and like color intensive. This just looks very translucent. Not happy with it, so I'm also trying to use it up so I don't have to look at it again. And then these hearts are very hard to figure out where to put them in, so they went on this spread. And altogether I got this very blue theme. This is an actual postage stamp, so I am subscribed to Mochi Bujo's Patreon. The first month I got her snail mail, happy mail, sorry. They have different names for this, but she has like a monthly subscription on a Patreon where she sends you stickers and vinyls dependent on her theme for that month. And then the first month I received it, I got this postage stamp on the envelope, and I cut it out because it was the aurora lights. It was so cool. So the other thing I do on my cover pages is that I like to put in whatever media I have consumed. So in Jan, I started ESO again, Elder Scrolls Online. It's a game. And my partner and I are trying to do a marathon of Harry Potter. So at this point, we watched Prisoner of Azkaban and Goblet of Fire. And then obviously Stranger Things was released on the 1st. I think everywhere else it was released on the 31st, but in South Africa that was 3 a.m. on the 1st, on New Year's Day. So we spent New Year's Day watching Stranger Things, and I mistakenly got like a season 4 poster. I didn't see the 4 when I put it in to print. So then High School Musical had their 20th anniversary in January, so I was rewatching that. Let's talk about the actual reads. So the first read I did was Empire of Shadows. So let me tell you a little bit of the story. This follows Ellie Mallory. She's an academic who deals with like documentation and stuff of ancient artifacts and just history. And then she goes on this journey of basically like a treasure hunt kind of thing in the British Honduras. And I can't tell you too much because I don't know what is spoilery. If it's something that's in the first like 2 chapters, is that considered a spoiler? Because it sets the tone for the rest of the book. I'm not sure how much I should say about a story. Actually, I don't actually know what I write about, so you probably don't want to read that because I may have spoilers in the writing. Please don't. So basically, she goes on this journey, and it's a very Lara Croft-esque kind of journey without the action. And the reason why this book irritated me so much is because Ellie was really presented as this good, strong female lead that I would want to play a game on, but like after 25% she kind of became this whiny person. Now this is a book club read, so I did have a lot of Erin Smith's YouTube members that I could talk with about this book, and they also mirrored my sentiments about this. But interesting, I think a lot of them said it's not as bad when you read it. Because I listened to it, the narrator did overly dramatize a lot of Ellie's tone. So she came out extra whiny. I think the writing as well wasn't something I would pick up again. This book, I did give it a 3 stars, which is still good for me because I enjoyed it. I learned a lot from this book. I learned about mine history. I learned about the suffragist movement. I also remembered things about my past that I forgot about because I think I was having a conversation with someone on Discord and I was like, yeah, I'm really getting into different genres. And they're like, oh, what genre are you getting into? I was like, fantasy. And I felt weird saying that because I feel like everyone reads fantasies these days. And I was trying to remember why is fantasy so new to me? And that's because I grew up reading not fantasy. I grew up reading these type of books, these sleuthing books, mystery books, like the Nancy Drews, the Hardy Boys. Even Enid Blyton had, like, I read so much of Enid Blyton when I was younger. And I remember there was this one Enid Blyton series. It was about this 2 sets of, like, siblings / cousins, I'm not sure. And one of the guys had this parrot. It was a scarlet macaw called Kiki. And since I read that and I religiously reread that entire series, I think I had like 1 book missing. I wanted a parrot, and that's how I have Twinkle, who is an African grey. Yeah, she was already named, so I couldn't name her Kiki. We didn't go out looking. She kind of just fell into our laps of someone, a parrot who needed love and taking care of, so we took her in. But yeah, that one changed my life. But that's the books I grew up reading. I think the only fantasy I ever read when I was younger was Harry Potter. So yeah, impactful book on my life. Oh, there is the sequel is Tomb of the Sun King, and I actually heard about that before I knew about this book, and that book is where they go to Egypt, and I want to know what happens, so probably I will pick it up as an audiobook when, like, way in the future when I want to multitask. And the other thing is that I included a spread with questions. I made these questions, they were for the book club, but because I made them, I decided to put them in the book, because why make questions if you can't answer them? And while I was answering it, I was like, I really hate this because it feels like homework, and why did I make these questions so hard? So I won't have questions for in my book, like for the book club picks. So let me also just explain. Erin Smith, she has questions for her books, and then we meet in a Discord call to go through the questions, like what everybody else answered or just general thoughts about the book. So that's what I'm talking about, the questions. Yeah, that's that. I won't have these questions for any other book club book because yeah, I don't want to answer it. It's too real. The next book I read was Legends and Lattes, and I'm very proud of the spread because I had fun with my cricket. This was supposed to be one side, but I was gonna do Emily Wilde here because I didn't finish it in January. I decided to do 2 pages of Legends and Lattes. I liked this book. I listened to it on Everand Audio, but I think it's available on Audible as well. It's narrated by the author Travis Baldry, and it's wonderful. It's a cozy book, and it's amazing. So I tried to listen to this last year. I couldn't for the life of me get going with it. It was playing and I just couldn't concentrate, so I paused it. And thankfully I did, because when I listen to it now, it was just such a captivating and easy listen. I was very grateful for this. I will definitely be picking up the subsequent, I think there's more books after this, or more books by the author. It's just one of those that I can pick up and just know that I'm gonna have a good time and I don't have to use my brain too much, because especially with audiobooks, I don't want to use my brain a lot. I want it to just flow into my brain. This follows Viv, who is an ex-assassin. She is an orc barbarian, but she used to be in the bad side, I know that much, and then she left the world of danger behind and went to this small town and wanted to start up a coffee shop. And this town hasn't heard of coffee before. So it's just a very nice, fun journey that follows Viv and the people that she meets along the way. let's go on. That was my last read for January. So February was a very good reading month for me. Let's talk about decor first before I go into the books. I used everything pink. These were offcuts from my February bullet journal theme that I had. All of these like girlies with the butterflies, and then I had other things behind this. This was like leftover stickers from a theme I did years ago, and I put more stickers behind, but when I printed these covers, I thought they were much smaller than what they were, and they ended up being too big. But I did try to like bring the back sticker a bit forward because it's this little cute cat on a hot air balloon. So I was trying to like bring it forward, maybe I could overlap this, but then I ended up ruining that cover. I watched Harry Potter Order of Phoenix. Then we also watched Half-Blood Prince. I watched Seven Dials. It's I think 3 episodes or something. It's on Netflix and it just released that day I watched it. I was pleasantly surprised. Then I watched Tu Meri Main Tera Tu Meri. It's a Hindi movie. It's a Bollywood movie. I didn't like it. The songs that came out of it is great, and the visuals looked like it was going to be a good movie. I didn't like it. Then Megan is Missing is this old movie about, it's like so old. It was kind of like in trend back then to have movies that's based on like internet usage, like back when webcams were a thing and you kept calling your friends with webcams. This is that type of movie, and it was interesting. And then I binged The Art of Sarah. It's on Netflix. It's a Korean series, and it follows this lady who has just multiple identities, and they're trying to figure her out. Yeah, I binged that, and I actually forgot to print the book cover, so this is printed on my Zomini. And then Bridgerton, which I was waiting so long for Bridgerton. I am a huge fan of the show. I tried to read the books and I couldn't do it. Nope. So I'm gonna stick to the series. I have so many thoughts, and that's a good thing because that means I'm really invested into a series. Then for the books I've read, this is for Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies, and this book follows Emily Wilde. And Emily Wilde is a researcher. It's set in a universe where there are such things as fays. Yeah, they just exist together with the humans, but they don't intermingle with each other. So she's trying to go and learn more about them. It's one of the first research of her kind, and for her to have gotten that far. And this book it's written in the form of logs, like daily entries. So before she actually writes her research paper, she's writing down her notes each day in her field journal. Each chapter kind of is her notes, but beginning is quite slow, but not in the sense where I felt like I didn't know where the story was going. I definitely understood what I was reading and the purpose for it. And then the last bits were very quick. It was very like, I wasn't expecting for it to be such a interesting take, I guess. I don't know what to say. I'm so scared of giving spoilers. The last bit did remind me of this one scene in the game It Takes Two. There's a scene where they go into the snow globe. That's what it reminded me of. Just read it. It's such a nice story, but I did become a bit fed up of fantasy after this, to be honest. Now, for the spread. I did this on my Cricut, and it was ironed on, but I was rushing when I did it, so also the font, this parts were too thin. So I think if I'm ironing on, I just mustn't use very, very thin bits of font. So you can see it's a bit wonky. This part, yeah, I spelled encyclopedia wrong when I did it, so I had to cut out the vinyl. Just a lot of things that's a bit wonks, but it's fine. I have learned. And then these mushrooms I have made on the Cricut as well. So yeah, can you see it has that really cool foil elements? Yeah, I was very sad to know that I didn't have a exact match, because this is more like a red pink. It's pink, but it's on the red side, and I didn't have that, so I used purple instead. This was Take A Lot packaging. This is paper from some journaling kit I have, and these were from Pinterest. This fan art of Poe, look at him, he's so cute. He is a fae that she meets quite early on in the story. Oh my gosh, he's so cute. And this is Shadow, and I want a dog like Shadow so badly. But yeah, I like this book a lot. It was 4 stars, and I had a 7.42 co-pile rating. Oh, and this was the Goobers book club pick for January, and I finished it in February. The next book that I did was Hemlock and Silver. This was an Everand audio, and this is for Page Major's book club, the pick for February. And this is by T. Kingfisher, and premise is like it's a inspired tale of Snow White. I'm not gonna say it's a retelling. I know that's like on the Everand audio page it says retelling, but it's not really. It's a lovely story that borrows some elements from Snow White, but you can read it and not even pick that up at all. So I liked it. I liked when it's like a different way of a very similar story, like a very different perspective. Love it. Okay, yeah, it follows Anya, she's a poison doctor. She like plays with poison, and then a king comes to her and be like, yo, my daughter, she's dying, can you please help and come check what poisons are affecting her? And she's like, oh my god, king, okay, I don't like I have a choice, but I'll come. And then she goes on this journey, and instantly from the get-go I was connected to this book. I was intrigued. I wanted to know what was happening. The journey to get to the palace, and then the journey in the palace, it was really nice. I liked it. But I would say around 50%, about a chapter or two, it got a bit like I didn't feel like picking it up again, but I'm glad I did. I also just think I was in a bad headspace. So I don't think it's a reflection of the book at all, because now that I'm thinking about this overall, the book was actually fine. The pacing was fine. And yeah, I'm not going to say much about it because I want it to be a surprise. And I love the audiobook as well. The narrator was quite good. It took me a while to get used to her voice, but I feel like she suited the character of Anya really, really, really well. And then for the actual spread, I bought this tissue paper specifically for this spread. And tissue paper is just so hard to work with. This black one I had for a very long time. This holographic I got recently from the Papery. It's an online store here in South Africa. And this is a marble washi that I put just to break things up. And I made this with Cricut. This is because this is the mirror, right? You know Snow White has a mirror. So on the book club Discord, someone shared the special edition of the book that they had, and it had this holographic mirror, exactly the same. This is what I was copying. So yeah, there's a cat, and I just had these stickers that I bought like years ago, and I put that here. I rated it a 4 stars, and it's 7.1 core rating. The next book is called Bunny. Oh, I need to think a little bit about how I want to talk about this book. It is one of those satire books that's set in campus or university. And yeah, it's called Warren University. And this lady, her name is Sam. Her mind is the main point of view of this entire story, and what her mind goes through and has been through. I say that it's such a deep story, but no, oh my god, this book is so weird. Okay, so it's named after this group of girls, call themselves the Bunnies. And when they meet, it's like, oh my god, hi Bunny, love you Bunny, so amazing Bunny. And it's so addictive that I actually started talking like that, oh my god, so weird. That type of a speech pattern just after I read this book, because it has affected me like that. So these are a group of girls that's in the same workshop as Sam, so they are in some literature kind of major, and they have these workshops where a group of them comes together, presents their work, and the rest of them comments on it. And Sam's brilliant luck, she gets stuck with them in the last year at Warren University, and it's only her and the Bunnies, so she has no escape. So she really loves to make fun of the bunnies with her friend Ava. They love to imagine things about what they must be doing at their soirees or parties until she gets invited to one. And Sam goes because she's worried about how her year being alone in the workshop with them would be. And she discovers a lot of weird stuff that the bunnies get up to. But also, you kind of question at the end whether things were real or was it all in Sam's head. The thing I didn't like about this book is that every time like someone asks Sam a question, she has this entire paragraph where she now reflects upon the past, and then the last bit is the actual answer to the question. And I find that very irritating because I'm just like, get on with the story. But I understand why it's there. It's because to explain Sam's mental state. And yeah, I want to recommend this book to people solely to get their reaction, because it's one of those where you just like, what am I actually reading or listening to? Yeah, this is Bunny by Mona Awad, and I know there's a sequel, and I think I want to read it just because I'm intrigued. I want to know. Well, the sequel is actually a prequel, so I've gathered that much. Oh, is there a third book that's the prequel? I'm not sure. You know what? There's a book after this that she made, and I'm gonna read it because I got so infected by this bunny thing I drew, and I scribbled into it, and then I just put these things here because it's what the bunnies say a lot of the times. And then I did this with very dried up acrylic paint, but it has this really nice texture now that I can't keep scratching. I can't stop scratching. And these are posters I found on Pinterest. It's of the bunnies, the book cover, and this was on Instagram. Like someone did a reel with the bunnies, like how the bunnies would dress, and I thought it was quite nice and aesthetic, so put that there as well. And that's those books. Then comes to the last 3 books of the month. The first is Silver in the Wood. Silver in the Wood is a story about Tobias Finch, and he is like this really strong character that protects a forest. And yeah, this is like 112 pages long, so I loved it because the author did a lot in that 112 pages. I would recommend this book to anybody to read as a short read. This was part of the Mochi Bujo book club for January. His landlord that recently moves in is Henry Silver, and Henry Silver is so taken. He's really interested in the history of the place, and he doesn't know who Tobias is. Tobias is like someone who has always has lived a very long time taking care of the forest and the dryads and the nymphs that grow there. So yeah, Henry is just a normal human, and he is very taken aback by Tobias Finch, and he wants to know more. And then they just get caught up in a story. I'm not going to say more about that. My favorite character of this is Henry's mother, because she comes in and she's like, I know who you are, Tobias. She's really, really cool. And very, very, very enjoyed that story. And the other shorter one was, well, not shorter, but a short story is Wolves and Daggers. But I decided to listen to this because I bought this on Audible, and it was like 3 of the steampunk. There's like 2 other books after this, so it was 3 in 1 credit for Audible. And I was like, okay, cool, I'll buy it. But I didn't enjoy it. And I think it's because I amped myself too much for this, because I love steampunk books. But this didn't have that much resemblance to it. This follows the main character. Oh my gosh, I even forgot. I blocked everything out of this book. She is part of the Red Cape Society, and they investigate supernatural things. There's some weird stuff that happens in this book, and it's definitely fiction, and it's enjoyable. I just don't think I was in the headspace for it, so I really thought of DNFing it, but because it was so short, I got through it. I won't be picking up the rest of the series. This was a 1.5 star book, and official time was 4 hours 6 minutes. It was supposed to be a Red Riding Hood retelling, and I got the elements. I see it. There were things that were repeated. Yes, I understand. But yeah, I won't be picking it up. I think I hyped myself a bit too much for that book. Then the other book that I read was The Last Unicorn. This was a book I strongly thought that I was going to DNF. Just because the beginning of it, there was... it was like it seemed like a childish book in the beginning. And then he got to the specific chapter where I was like, what is going on and how does this contribute to the story at all? But then when I picked it up again after a while, I got past that chapter, thankfully, and then I started the actual story. So it says 325 pages, but it's actually like, I must update this. I think the actual length of it is more like 180 or 200 pages, I want to say. So it was relevantly short, and I'm happy I got through this. This follows a unicorn. She doesn't really give her name, and she then discovers that she might be the last unicorn alive in the world. And at one point, humans used to like really revere, and they knew about unicorns, but it's been so long since she has shown or like appeared in public that like humans just thought unicorns were a thing of the month. So she starts this journey of like, how can there be no other unicorns, and how can the world have forgotten about unicorns? She starts this journey to figure out where the rest of her family or her species is, and then she gets involved with Smendrick the magician and Molygru, who help her. Well, she doesn't need help because she's a divine entity, but they do end up helping her. And if I tell you any more, it's going to be a spoiler. I would say get through the hard parts because it is a type of book that, I guess for the time, because this was published like a long time ago, and I guess for the time I can see why it was popular, but now I don't understand it. There's a lot of similar stories like Silver in the Wood. I enjoyed a lot more than this book. This was a book club book for the Mochi Bujo book club for February, and this was a 2.5 stars. So that was the last book I read in February. So now I'm gonna go into March. I'm still sticking with the whole using up what's in my stash theme. This is from this journaling kit. I have a lot of these journaling kits, and I bought them from La Leila, which is a local store here. There's this big mountain, let me remove this so you can see, mountain view, which I thought was okay, I'll use it, needs to be used anyways. And that's my March, and I added whatever else was in that kit here just as a jumble wumble. And I'm thinking I'll put my media coming down here and figure that out when I get to that. So far I've started Anne of Green Gables. I'm not going to go through March. I'll keep that when I'm done with it because I haven't done any spreads for it. I've read a bit of Lights Out, and I started Anne of Green Gables, but this is the one on Audible where Rachel McAdams is narrating, and I'm enjoying it. This is the first time I am reading this. I also haven't watched any of the movie adaptations based on this book, and I'm enjoying it. But yeah, we'll come to that at the end. Let's go to the beginnings. That is last year's beginnings, and see how far I come. So on my physical TBR, I have read Encyclopedia of Fairies, which is Emily Wilde, so at least that's ticked. Oh, and then I can tick Wolves and Daggers as well. And then, do I tick things off my ones to read as well? Let me see if there's anything here that needs ticking. Nope. Nope, there's nothing on my ones to read that needs ticking. I already filled this in. This is my books read. I got Emily, Empire of Shadow, Legends of Latte, Emily Wilde, Hemlock and Silver, Bunny, Silver in the Wood. This book cover like printed a lot darker than what it's supposed to. Even Wolves and Dagger, I'm not sure why. Probably because the setting was on best setting. And then the last unicorn. So that's updated. And then I also wrote back here. No, I actually didn't. I didn't write the last unicorn. So thingamabobs this month, very close to DNFing. I actually want to add in here, I'm gonna add in Akata book. I'm actually by hearted this already. Akata book 6, which is releasing on the 27th October 2026, and then Akata book 7, which is releasing on the 12th of Jan 2027. I can't believe that. Hey, I'm actually using this box. I thought I wouldn't. Then Emily Wilde, I read the first one, and nothing of anything else gets updated there. My reading channel challenge, wow. Sorry, like the weather is going wild, so getting distracted. But I have read 8 books so far as of March. No, should I say as of February? Which is very good because I don't read that much usually, but I think it's the shorter books that really got the numbers up. And for January, for the book of the year, I got Legends and Lattes for January, and then Emily Wilde. So Hemlock and Silver, I think, and Emily Wilde had the same star rating, so it really came to the decimal core power ratings to compare the both, and Emily Wilde was 7.42 and Hemlock and Silver was 7.14. So that's why Emily Wilde won, and that went here. And then when that went up against Legends and Lattes, it pew-pewed it and it won, so I put that in there. It's like one block, but I'm so excited. This one I kind of butchered, and I'll tell you why. So I decided to actually write in the numbers, so that will correlate to these numbers, like these book numbers, but you can't see the book numbers, so I started adding them on the spreads, like just like places that I could find. I don't want to continue that, but I thought it might be nice, and it is. I don't know, we'll see, but it's looking a bit wonky because of that. But in January I listened to 2 audiobooks. In Feb, 3 physical books. No, 1 physical book and 3 ebooks on my Kindle. And then, no, actually 1 was on Everand, and then 2 audiobooks. So I used Audible once for a credit. I think that must have been Wolves and Daggers. And then Everand, I have used it so far. I have used it for 3 audiobooks and 2 ebooks. I think that's updated. And then for my book club reads, for Page Majors, I have read the 2. Cersei is the pick for March, but I already read that last year and it's quite fresh in my memory. I won't be rereading that. April's pick is there, but I just need to print the book club. For the Mochi Pujo's book club, I have read The Last Unicorn and Silver in the Woods. The pick for March is Hamnet. I actually wanted a Slewfoot to win, so it was up against Slewfoot and Hamnet, but Hamnet won, and I will read it just because I'm curious. I know there's a movie out with Pedro Pascal, I think. Was it coming out? Yeah, but I'm interested to know what happens in that book. Then for the Goobers Who Read book club, I read Emily Wilde. Project Hail Mary was the pick for February, but I have read that like years ago, so I won't be rereading it because I do remember it. And there is a series that's coming out, I think on Apple or somewhere, with Ryan Gosling. Or is it a movie? I'm not sure. I can't remember. But it's coming out, and I do remember enough to watch that movie or series with like good memory of what happens in the book. So The book club pick for March is Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, and I will read that because that also is one of the Jellyfish challenge prompts that I had. So that's good, killing a lot of birds with one stone. And then for Library of Kate, Lights Out, I'm still finishing it. I think I'm on like probably the last 75% of it. And then the pick for March and April is Malibu Rising, which is another pick for the Jellyfish challenge, so I will be reading that as well. Then the Year of Gooba, I still haven't figured out what I want to do, but I did print out in January. I had a bruschetta which had sourdough in it, and then I also bought sourdough as bread and I took a picture, so I just need to actually put that in here. I think I would need like a flap maybe at the end of the year to put all of this in. I have ideas, I just need to sit down and do them. But for January, I have done the sourdough prompt, which was first book in a series, and that was the Empire of Shadows. And I ate a banana bread, but I didn't do the prompt so I couldn't print that out here. February, Red Velvet Cupcake was Hemlock and Silver, and Macaron is Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. And Red Velvet Cupcake was contains romance, and Macaron was colorful cover. Now, I bought a red velvet Swiss roll, and I took a picture of that, but I still want a red velvet like a proper cupcake. So I will find it, but I am like fasting now on Saturdays, so it's a bit hard. And macarons as well is hard to find. So like I don't want to put an order in, or I don't want to buy too many because we don't eat it quite often. I just want one for the picture, you know. But yeah, that will be filled soon, and then I will get the pictures for it for the spread. Then in March, the plan, there's a prompt lemon tart, and that's to give a book a second chance. So I have mini books here. I have Shadow and Bone. I actually read it, so I bought a physical box set of Shadow and Bone, and I read it, but I just didn't remember anything from it, and I was so uninterested. And I love the Netflix series, by the way. It's one of my favorite ever, and I'm really sad that they cancelled it. Blood Over Brighthaven, I started it, but I wasn't in the right mood, and I think it's going to be a good book because the magic system is amazing. I loved how it started off. Yeah, so I'm hoping I can get back to that, or I'm going to read Book of Doors, because that was a pick last year during one of the book clubs, and I purchased it, but I didn't finish it. And that covers one of the Jellyfish prompts. Or Thursday Murder Club. There's a lot of O's here. I just have to figure out for lemon tart what I'm going to do. Then the croissant is multiple POV, and that's going to be Lights Out. Then the Jellyfish challenge. So I remembered I had these nail art stickers with jellyfish. I added it in, and then I had some stickers for jellyfish as well that I put it here, and I put it behind the cards. And then so far I've completed the prompt for Morph Stinger, and this was read a book with a weapon in the cover of the title. Legends and Lattes, there's a sword that goes across there. And then Egg Yolk Jellyfish, read a book with food on the cover, and there's an apple on Hemlock and Silver. Then the Flower Hat Jellyfish, read a book with plants on the cover, and there's a lot of plants on the Emily Wilde Encyclopedia of Fairies book cover. And Lion's Mane Jellyfish, read a book with an animal on the title of the cover. Bunny has an animal on the title and on the cover. And then Crown Jellyfish, read a book about royalty or treasure, and Empire of Shadows is about ancient royalty and a treasure. So I did 5 prompts so far. I haven't taken you through, so let's go through it. Moon Jellyfish, I'm thinking about doing The Serpent of the Wings and Night. This is to read a book with words night, moon, or stars in the title or the cover. The Box Jellyfish, this is a hard one. Read a book with box or mail in the title or cover, or a locked room story. I didn't know what to do with this. So I went on Storygraph to the Jellyfish journals. She has a reading challenge for this. And when you click on the prompt, you can see what other people have done for it. And then I saw Thursday Murder Club. And I was like, okay, that sounds right. I'll do this as well. Upside down Jellyfish, read a book with something upside down on the cover or with a plot twist. This one I have Book of Doors or The Hunger Games, book 1, which I also took from Storygraph, other people's picks. Flame Jellyfish, read a book with a fire in the title or the cover, or a book with red cover or something spicy. I have the physical book Kaiki. Yeah, so this is Kaiki. It is red. It's completely red. I love this book. Look at that. So I was a Bharatanatyam dancer. This is stuff we wore, temple jewelry and everything. So I definitely bought it. I started off reading it, didn't get that far. So I need to get back to that. I was actually going to do that for the prompt for a second chance book, but I think there's another prompt down the line where Kaiki will fit in, which is linked to traditions for Year of Kuba. And Kaiki is based on, I don't want to say Indian mythology because it's like part of our religion, kind of, the stories we read. It's just a different like way of looking at characters that appear in the stories that we grew up listening to. And then Purple Striped Jellyfish, read a book with a pattern on the cover. I have Alchemy of Secrets, and there is a pattern there, but if I find a different one, I'll put that there. So I want something very obvious. Immortal Jellyfish, read a book with the word life or death on the title. In the title, sorry. And this is where Invisible Life of Addie LaRue will be there. And then for this one, there were so many options. Mediterranean Jellyfish, read a book with water on the cover or the title. And I had a bunch. I had Remarkably Bright Creatures. And they announced that they're going to do a live adaptation for it. Malibu Rising, House in the Cerulean Sea, and A River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross. And then I think Malibu Rising will actually fulfill that. Then I have Japanese Sea Nettle, read a book set in Asia. This one I have A Daughter of the Moon Goddess. It's on Everand, and I always did want to read that. Then I don't know why I have Cinder here. I think Cinder is set in Asia. I think I added Cinder after I saw the Storygraph challenge. And yeah, I think it is. But Cinder is like a classic and I haven't read it. So it was also on Everand and I have saved it to my library. I need to read that. So either book can satisfy this prompt. And then read a book with fragile vibes, glass, clear, breakable. And that's for the Crystal Jellyfish. This one was a bit of a difficult one as well. There is this book called Glass House by Anne Stewart, but I also have the physical books for One Dark Window. I still have it in its plastic, but aren't those breakable somehow? I don't know. We'll see. But the window is in the title, right? And that's breakable. Surely that satisfies the prompt. So for the other one that I was talking about, which was the read a book with the pattern on the cover, this was the Alchemy of Secrets. Can I consider this a pattern? Or this? I am wary about this. I know it's a bit of a cop-out. But I don't know. I can't find any other... Oh, this cover is so pretty. I can't find any other book that has like a very visible pattern. Invisible Life has it, but I would rather use that for the prompt. Where's that book cover? It has a pattern, right? But I would rather use that for this prompt. Decisions. I think also the locker room was this other one called The Dream Hotel or something. I added it to my wants to read, I'm so sure. The Dream Hotel by Layla Lalami. That seems quite interesting. I want to read that. so might go there as well. Yeah. Then the last one is the Portuguese Man of War. This read a book outside your comfort zone. So currently I have Priory of the Orange Tree tea. Since I started reading books like recently, like within the last 3 years, this was the one book I wanted to read. I actually saw it, this and The Alchemist. I saw it in the book in exclusive books here in the airport, and I was like, I really want to buy this book, but it's so thick, so I couldn't put it in my luggage. I want to read it, but it's quite thick, so it's outside my comfort zone. I don't think I've read a book greater than 1,000 pages that wasn't a textbook. So, and then this Wheel of Time is here as well, just because the series itself is so overwhelming. Recently I got this book. Why? I had no like plans of reading this book. This is Alchemist by Senlin Yu. I just got it because it had spade edges. This was in exclusive books. I was not expecting exclusive books to have books with spade edges. There's a lot of them with spade edges. Look at that. But it's like, it is a lot of pages. That's over 1,000 pages. And I am probably going to read this and do it for that prompt, because this is overwhelming. Like, I have huge hands and it's just barely fitting in my hands. I can't imagine like yo. Anyways, it's gorgeous though. Look at it. Oh my god, I'm so happy that I bought it. But it's huge. That is a fact. I'm hoping that you don't hear the commotion that's going on outside in the sky, but if you do, I'm sorry. We are at the end though. I'm very excited for the future and the rest of the year. I need to tell you what my plan for March is. Also, I'm happy because look at how little of space I have left in this book. So I also slumped my bullet journal last year. This is my bullet journal, and this is my last year's bullet journal. So I have like a lot of space. Well, not that much. Now coming to think about it, I don't think this is gonna last. Yeah, it might not. Yeah, it's not gonna last. Okay. I have so many books, journals that is coming. I've ordered. Listen, I am on a binge. My wallet is looking at me like, what is this girl doing? You know, I just keep buying and buying. Please be prepared for haul videos because I'm gonna cry with how much I have spent. I spent like about $600 just for shipping from Archer and Olive in the US to where I am at in South Africa. Please understand that's a lot of money. and I'm trying not to think about it, but I'm gonna tell people because it's ridiculous. And then I went on and bought more Archer and Olive stuff, but I sent it to my brother in the Netherlands, so that's fun. And then I just kept buying more things. Why am I on the spree of buying? March is bad because of that. Anyways, point is, this might last me like 2 more months if I'm lucky, and then I can do like maybe a reading. But it would be really cool if it could last me till June, sorry. Then I can do 6 months here and then 6 months there. But yeah, I probably would need to start a new reading journal and then continue that reading journal for 2027. But I don't know what I have. So I have this journal. I have another journal like this. I have the 9x9 heirloom journal from Archer and Olive, and those are the 2 squares. I also have 2 B5s, one from, yeah, you know what, let me not talk about it. I'll probably have to put a poll somewhere, perhaps on Instagram. I need some help. I don't know what journal to choose. I definitely want something bigger because I want to get rid of, I want to use up the bigger sheets of prints that I have from these journal kits. But yeah, I don't know, but we shall see. So let's just talk about March really quickly. So I am going to read Lights Out. I'm going to read The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, Malibu Rising, and Hamnet for sure. Housemaid, I watched the movie, I liked it, I want to read the book finally. Akatar, yeah, I put that there before I heard of the announcement that she's releasing the new books. I have bought the physical books, all of the books in the series, and I haven't read them yet. So it's time I start reading that. And then Dungeon Crawler Call that I borrowed from Kindle Unlimited. But I feel like that's a perfect audiobook to listen to, but I have to use my credits for it. So I'd rather do Kindle Unlimited. So that's my TBR. I don't think I'm gonna make it through like 3 of them, but we shall see. And then the second chance prompt can be Housemaid, because I have borrowed that from Kindle Unlimited so many times, just never got around to reading it. Shadow and Bones, Blood Over Bright Haven, Book of Doors, and Thursday Murder Club. One of them I'm gonna get to in this month. So that is it. I hope this yap session wasn't boring and I hope that the audio is fine as well. Thank you so much for being here and listening to me talk about my reading journal. I'm very happy with how it's turning out. And yeah, hopefully, well, not hopefully, I will be doing March setup. So like as I am setting up each review layout or page, I will be doing a video of that, very similar to how I do my bullet journal videos, so that at least would be a bit more structured. But I'm not sure, do you prefer more like yap sessions like this about books, or would you prefer a much more planned out video with a voiceover? I'm not sure. Let me know if you have made it through. Let me know in the comments. I would love to know. But yeah, thank you, and I hope that you enjoy your day. Goodbye, everyone.